Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This is a new series called Motor Trade Mentors, where we are going to try and do our utmost best to help anyone out who is new in the trade, having difficulties in the trade, and kind of just want a bit of a sounding board where we can share ideas and hopefully help out. You join me today, Joe of Aero Motors, Dave of the Lovely Car Company, and our special guest today is Nick Bamford, who is, well, I think we should hand it over to Nick, I guess. He can kind of tell us a bit about his background and what his current situation is.
Currently in the process of trying to set up on my own. Um, I've worked 22 years as a valetor detailer, etc. In the trade, and done a bit of buying and selling over probably the last 2 or 3 years. I was given the chance to sell some cars for a company that I was working for, and thought I've had enough of the valeting side of things. 20 odd years of that is hard work, especially when you're outdoors all the time, 12 every day of the week, all year.
Yeah.
So I've had enough of that, and I can do this. So I was given cars by someone I used to work for. So the Partexes that used to come in, that were either too old, too high mileage for them to retail. I was given the opportunity to sell them. So yeah, I thought I can do this. I enjoy doing this, and I've been trying to get set up on my own since, which has been a challenge, to be honest. With the majority of the things that I've got set up, I've got pretty much everything in place. And the only thing I haven't got in place at the minute is the finance side of it. That's where I'm struggling at the minute, and that's why I sent you that cheeky email the other day. Obviously, going off the back of what you mentioned in the other podcast with regards to the sale or return side of things.
Yeah.
To try and get started, so do a sale or return. Obviously, pay for it once it's sold, and
Yeah.
a little
Yeah. For
bit.
context, Nick dropped me an email to say he likes the content, all that sort of stuff, and he's looking to get into doing this himself. But as we talked about sailor return stuff, did we have any sort of sailor return cars that Nick could have a crack at, basically? But whereabouts are you based?
I'm up in Preston, in Lancashire, so I'm a good few miles away from you. But
Yeah, that would be the issue. I think probably the real cheapy stuff and the majority of your profit would be gone with getting them back, I expect. But
yeah,
you never know.
mm-hmm.
Hopefully, with this, podcast, there might be someone in your area that is,
Yeah,
looking for someone who's enthusiastic and whatever to
mm-hmm.
sell those sorts of things. Um,
Yeah.
And Nick, how many cars have you got at the moment then?
At the minute that I haven't got anything. I'm currently working somewhere else, and just obviously to pay my bills and everything. But I'm still trying on a daily basis. I'm looking and trying to get, as I said, the finance side of things, just trying to get that in place so that I can just go out and buy.
How much money have you got to at the minute to invest?
At the minute, I've only got a couple of grand, but I'm trying. Like I say, I'm trying to get that little bit more. But that couple of grand would probably be more. I'd use that, obviously sort my insurance out, for one, and then keep that kind of to the side for prep of the initial cars that I was to get.
Yeah, see your insurance that's going to be about, I think, 3 grand straight away.
Around two. I've had a quotes between two and a half. That's to have obviously vehicles up to a trade value of around £5,000 to £6,000, on the policy, and nothing more than that to start with anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the quotes that I've been getting around the two and a half grand mark.
Yeah, because to be honest, 2 grand it's not going to be enough to get.
No.
Ideally, you need, I'd say, 30 grand at the least.
Right. I'm looking, what I've been working out on. I'm looking at around the 20 mark. Going off, and that's basing it off buying 4 to 5 cars, around 2 to 3 grand. that's paying out. The cheap stuff. And this is one thing that I was going to ask as well about is it worth getting the cheap stuff, so the sub £1,000 stuff that you're paying out for at trade price, to then retail on and build it up that way? Or the way that I'm thinking of doing it is to go from the 2-3 grand trade price and retailing them.
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? Because like as Dave's saying, if you wanted it, you'd want a big pot. If you were to, but then I think if you wanted to just quit your other job and do this full whack, you'd probably need that. And I understand where Dave's coming from, but we all did kind of start out with doing 1 or 2 on the side, and you can buy one for £1,000 and try. And it's a slow.
Well, yeah. The plan is my plan would be to still keep working up till probably the end. Well, in fact, it will be the end of January, and I know that for a fact because they're closing our site down where I'm working in January. So ideally, what I'd want to do is kind of build something up between now and then. So if I can get a couple of cars in, get them sold, and do it that way, and put money to the side, and then come January, hopefully have a pot of money there where I could then go into it obviously full time as opposed to on the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the target for me will be January doing it full time. Obviously, otherwise I'd then be
a bit of a deadline then.
Yeah.
And have you got anywhere to put the cars at the moment?
I can put 3 on my drive, and I can put a couple around my parents' house as well for the time being as well. So I've got places where I can put the cars. That's not an issue at all. I keep looking when I'm out working and I'm driving around. I keep looking to see if there's any little yards or anything in the area that may be useful. A section of a pub car or a derelict pub car parks, things like that, that I could potentially look at and say, is it available to rent this small car park area if no one else is using it?
I think at the minute what you need to do is you just need to keep trading from home, and you just got to keep the wheels turning. With 2 or 3 cars, you can easily do this part time alongside your other job, But the best way to learn is to be in it, to be doing it every day, every week. And the beauty of the cheaper cars is that they will sell quicker, But you're only going to have, if they're under £1,000, you might be getting like £200-300 out of them, something like that. But you just need to have a separate bank account, and everything goes in that bank account. You don't use it as your normal bank account. What you get your wages in. You need to set it up like a proper business.
Already done that.
That's
already
great.
Got a bank account in place. Yeah.
And there's £2,000 sat in there now. Then
there is.
Yeah. Great. So get your insurance sorted, and then just get out there and buy a car.
Right. Yeah. So
because sometimes you can get lost in all the planning. You're saying, by January and this and that. But before you know it, January will be here. Well,
I know.
By the end of next week, you need to have a car, and you need to have sold it by the week after.
To be up and running and trading and relying on it by January, you need to be building it up now. Like you say, build it up now, make a start. But like you're saying with the cheaper stuff, like buying stuff sub-grand, it's just depends where you're buying it from and how well you're checking it over. Because some of those cars can be some of the best ones, and some of those will have some of the best margins in. But it's because they're risky. So you've got to be prepared that along the way there is no avoiding it. Some of them are going to bite you.
Would you
avoid those at the beginning when you haven't got as much of a kind of safety blanket to kind of absorb it?
Would you do them on a private sale basis? Or would you?
You can't
do that.
No. So the obviously then the issue with with the cheaper ones, there's a higher risk of something going wrong with them potentially, and coming back. So obviously the consumer rights side of things, if you're doing it that way, doing it properly, but with the cheaper ones, and the consumer rights side of things, and whether you're giving a warranty or not with them.
You have to give a warranty, but they are going to be covered under Consumer Rights Act. If you
Yeah.
as the sense of a business, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people who will do it as like a private sale, but
Yeah.
it's not really the advice we can give.
No.
Yeah, you want to be setting out the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you don't have to give a warranty. And you might be able to say, look, there is no warranty with this because whatever. But they are still covered under the Consumer Rights Act. So if the engine blows weeks down the line, it's on you, unfortunately, So that's why taking like baby steps, maybe buy 500 quid a grand or whatever, and looking to have only a few hundred quid out of it. But if something goes wrong, maybe you can still sell it on for 600 quid. You might have lost 400 quid. It's a lot to swallow, but it's not the end of the world. The difficult thing would be is if you've got a £2 pot right now and you spend that all on one car, then that has a problem, and it ends up being just scrap value. Then it's game over. Right?
So that's why you need to be selling stuff that isn't going to go wrong, like 1.2 Fiestas. Corsas, but Corsas have like a rattly chain. Just don't be selling any like BMW, Mercedes that are sub £2,000, because guaranteed there will be something wrong with them. You're probably like, C1s, Igos. If you can get anything like that, that little small stuff that you can just churn out. Don't be buying anything big. Stick to the small stuff.
Right. Yeah.
It's like doing your groundwork, isn't it? Kind of doing your. Everyone's got to do it. I think you can't just jump in selling Ferraris and stuff. You've got to sell.
Oh no.
And the smaller stuff, because I mean, I'd be tempted to like buy the cheap Picassos and things like that because I still think there'd be better margins in them.
Yeah,
maybe more issues or whatever, but yeah, it pays to just do your cheap stuff. But like you say, you can get one bought, you can get it listed, people can be inquiring while you're at work, and you can just arrange for some viewings in the evenings. I mean, that's how I'd be doing it while trying to kind of, I don't know, start working. I'm thinking about, are you gonna have a Facebook page, and could you set up a cheap free website and yourself a bit of
the Facebook page side of things, I've got that kind of there ready to go live. Website, I was looking. I'll do.
You don't need a website where you are at the minute. You just need to be getting them on Facebook. Nobody's buying a car from you for you're just starting out, so you just need to get them online. Just don't give yourself analysis paralysis. Like, oh God, I need to get a website, and I need to get this, and I need to get that. All you need to do is just buy and sell as quick as you can, because, like I say, January will come very quick. And if I was selling them cheapies now, I'd want to be selling like 2 or 3 a week. You need to give yourself a goal. Give yourself a goal. Actually, I think 2 is a bit.
2 a week might be a bit much to start off with, but then I think you'll be surprised with the cheap stuff, it will sell quickly. But you will have a lot of Facebook messages to deal with. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But
like I said, I've done it before. Like I say, with the ones that I was given where I used to work, the Portexes. So I put them on Facebook. Obviously, they were done as private sales. So I was given them to sell as if it was a private sale type of thing. So I was selling them at a private sale price as well as opposed to a retail price.
Yeah. Have you got any garages like local to you that you've approached yet about part exchanges and things like
that? There's a couple that I've approached, but they've already got their list of main traders that they sell onto. And kind of they are at the top of the list, and it's a case of, if they don't want them, we'll give you a shout. So
it's hard to make inroads with garages. I would go in and say, the crap that everyone else doesn't want, give me a shout, and I'll my best to take it on, even if it seems rough or whatever. If it's the right price, you can still make money out of it. I don't think you're gonna walk in anywhere and say, could I have something on sale or return?
Oh no.
It's just,
No.
I think if you can buy a few from them, maybe, and then say, look, if I buy this one, could I do that one on sale or return? Once you've built a bit of a relationship with them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I would concentrate on buying your own ones and having, the better bite of the pie on some of the ones. Because your pot, if you get it right and you buy half sensible, your pot will probably grow quite quickly, and you'll, find you can buy some better stuff.
Yeah. Because the other day, Joe, you showed us all the cars you started with, didn't you? And it was the Corsas, wasn't it? The Corsas.
Little Corsas and Fiestas and stuff like that.
Yeah. And how many did you have when you first started?
Well, I started out with one, the first one that I bought, and then I don't know. Probably at that time, I probably had 6 or 7 at most, maybe to start.
How quick did you get up to that 6 or 7?
Pretty quickly. Pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because I'm not in the sort of the cheapy market, but I know that you have. I mean, your return on investment is so much better when it comes to these cheapies than it is for the stuff me and Dave sell, 100%. But I mean, the first car I bought was 800 quid on eBay on an auction from another dealer in 12 miles up the road. Went and bought it. It was a Corsa. It had a Ratley timing chain and whatever. And I didn't even know what it was at the time. And I did an oil change on it, and it sounded better. And I can't remember if we did the chain or what in the end. I think I might have tried to just quieten it down with something, to be completely honest, and not even really knowing what the problem was. I thought it might
turn the stereo up on the test drive.
I thought it was tappets or something. I really didn't have a clue. And this is the thing, when you start out, stuff you're going to learn. And I'm sure I doubled my money on it, and it was like, great, Corsas are the best thing to have. And did a little run of Corsas, and I disappeared. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just I think once you find something that works well, and then just kept doing it. But yeah, again, you don't want to be over stuck with them.
Yeah,
because then they go out of fashion.
And the one thing you're not going to be able to do, Nick, is go to auction and buy cars. You're not. Just the fees are going to kill you. So what I'd do as well is I'd get on, like Joe said there, eBay, Auto Trader. Just find all the private sellers. Just try and get like Facebook and that, and get all your searches saved and stuff like that. That's going to be your best, because if you do go to other traders, like Joe says, they're just going to lump you up with the stuff that they don't want.
Or that they can't get rid of to other traders because
it's just knackered. It'll be knackered.
Yeah.
I would set up your Facebook marketplace. You can set like a parameter, like cars up to £1,000 within 10 miles or whatever. Same with Gumtree. And to be honest, for the first a year to 18 months, I didn't buy anything from auction. I bought everything privately, and up to the point where I had like 20 cars and a showroom. I still hadn't opened up a auction account or anything. It's my life when I did. But yeah, I was buying everything. I don't know how I managed to find the time, but that is what I did. So you can set up the little things that would give you a notification. I think what you need to be, the things coming up cheaply on Gumtree and Facebook and whatever, you do kind of need to be prepared to like go and get it immediately.
Yeah.
When cars come up cheap, not even necessarily cheap, but you think it's a good deal or it's a good, thing to buy, so does everyone else. And if you can't think, I'll drop you a message and see if I can go and get that tomorrow. You need to be, my advice would be, can I come and have a look at it now, with the kind of intention to take it away? Otherwise you're gonna miss loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to take up a lot of your time.
Yeah, and
it's going to be really hard graft as well. Because
I'm
in the beginning, that's when it's the hardest.
Yeah, I'm prepared to put as much time into it as possible, to be honest.
You've got the skills for valeting and whatever, so you can clean it into a car.
Yeah, so all that I'll do myself initially anyway. Or if I haven't got time to do it, there's a couple of lads that I know that have got their own valeting places anyway, so and they'll do me a deal anyway on them. So it won't cost me full price to get them done. if I haven't got the time to do them, or if it's crap weather, or I can send it to them to get it done, as opposed to trying to do it on my drive. But yeah, the valeting side of things, I'm not worried about at all. Let's say I've done it 22 years, so
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not worried about that side of things at all.
You know any garages or know anyone who's a mechanic or you're friendly with or anything?
Yeah, there's one garage in particular that whether it's work on any of the ones that I've previously been given to sell and would needed doing, or on my own cars, there's a garage that I'll send them to anyway. So
Yeah.
say I've
Because
got one
if
going
you are selling
tomorrow.
the cheaper stuff, it's got to be worth 100 quid per car to send it to them,
Mhm.
or depending on how long the MOT is and how much involved you want to get or how confident you are in it, to put a new MOT on it and give it a good check over. And then the other thing you need to invest in is getting yourself like a duplicate PDI book. So you need to be doing a PDI, you need to be doing an invoice with the mileages and all that sort of stuff on, getting the customers to sign your PDI, so that your paperwork's all in order. So if something does come up where they say, you know, oh, I don't know, the radio stopped working after 2 months. You know, you got your bits of paperwork, and it's the really boring stuff. And if you haven't already, you probably want to be sort of searching around and chatting up some accountants.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Just because, again, it's not very glamorous or exciting, and it's an expense that you think is not worth it. But if you are going to get into it, then sooner you get someone on board and tells you what they want from you, then the better. Because I'm awful at all of that admin.
Yeah.
Just a very quick break from the podcast, because while we're talking to Nick there about wanting to get an accountant in early doors to make sure that all your finances stay structured, I thought actually probably the best thing you need to do is make sure you've got a good accounting package. And I remembered that I've still got a great offer for you guys on QuickBooks. I use QuickBooks myself for Barrow Motors, my plumbing business, and in fact for the kind of whole YouTube business as well. And I really like a lot of their features, like take pictures of your invoices, use things, the app on your phone, you can check how things are going, cash flow, all that sort of stuff. And I've got a deal where you can get 90% off for the first 7 months, which means you can get their Plus package, which is their top of the range package, for less than a cup of coffee per month. All the information will be in the description below, or check out the QR link over here. Back to the podcast.
Have you got a wife or partner, Nick?
Partner, yes.
Right, so she's going to need to help you as well, carting the cars around, because doing all this on your own, and if she can maybe help you with the bookkeeping and all that sort of thing.
I think I'll be better at the bookkeeping than what she is, to be honest.
Right. Good then. Get book. The thing is, once you get your account sorted and you get like a year or 2 years behind you, that's when you can get the stocking loans, the finance.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you've got to do. You've got to show the people that you can manage your money well, and you can be profitable. So that's what you've got to do, and it can be done. You know, I mean, I seen a trader last week, and he's got 60 cars, and it's him and his wife that do it. That's it. It's just him and his wife selling cars every day, 60 of them. So when you look at that, you and your partner, you're starting off with one. I mean, I'm not saying it should be easy, but it's perfectly doable. You can do it.
Yeah, I think first steps are like get your bits of paperwork and whatever so you're ready. So just like a PDI. I'll send you some links if you want. I'll send you, I know you said you've done some insurance quotes, but I'll send you a link for my broker guy that I use. I think he's quite good. But I do wonder, because I mean, I did start out straight off the bat with the full trade insurance. And I know technically you probably can't, but it would be tempting, wouldn't it? So if you're buying one car to do like a cover insurance to get it home and then sell it from there to keep the costs down.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, I don't want to give you that advice because probably, you know, technically that doesn't cover. I don't know if there is excuse the pun, but
I think the temp insurance side of things, I have done it before, just to get a car home from where I used to work to here. But I'm not 100% convinced that you're actually covered when you do that, unless the car is already insured by somebody else.
Oh
I
yeah.
think
Or
it's
if
just, you're
it's for
just covering
training.
yourself to drive that vehicle, but it has to still have insurance on it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and how many cars would you say you've sold the last few years then?
Probably 25, 30.
Right. Oh, good, good.
And ranging as well, but not just. I think the first one I did was a 64 plate Focus, and that was I was given the opportunity to that one because the other traders that the guy that I worked for dealt with didn't want to touch it because it was on the register. So it was a Cat D, I think it was. So I cleaned it, advertised it, sold it within 3 days, but got a Part X in that, and there an Astra Estate, and then cleaned that, advertised it, and sold that within 2 days as well.
Yeah.
And then there's all sorts. I've done a couple of Freelanders, Audi A4s, A5s, A3s, Golfs, Fiestas, Corsas, an old Jag. I've done all sorts. So it's not just one. It's just whatever came in, and it's like, right, okay, BMW X1 on a 63 plate. That was ready to go when it came in. It was that clean, that mint, brand new MOT, everything. I literally took pictures of it, advertised it. That's the longest one that I had. I think I had that for 2 weeks. But everything else sold.
As you get the more expensive stuff, they will hang around a bit longer.
Yeah.
But I think, I think you just need to, I guess, start buying and selling a few. Maybe we should catch up with you in February once you've finished your other job.
Yeah.
Find out. But is there anything else you wanted to ask us?
Obviously, I'm probably jumping the gun a bit with what obviously with what's been said and what I was or how I was planning to do it. So jumping the gun and maybe jumping too far into it initially. But one of the things, and this is kind of got me thinking as well after the one that you put up yesterday with the Auto Trader side of things. And is it worth, when you're starting out, is it worth getting, or do you think it's worth getting an Auto Trader package, whether it's a 5-car package and the cost for that, or if you're going to advertise on Auto Trader, is it worth just paying just for each individual advert? But then obviously with what was then mentioned on the podcast that you put up yesterday, that got me thinking as well with regards to, do you really need Auto Trader?
For the cars that you're selling, sub $3,000, you just need Facebook.
And
That's
the
it.
quantity that you're selling. I mean, to list 40 cars on Facebook Marketplace and get all the messages would be a nightmare. But I mean, put it this way, cars that have stuck with me for a long time, and they can be nice cars, interesting cars, things like that, that I'm struggling to sell. I will sometimes say to my other half, have a go, and she's still selling it as from us, but she'll post it on Marketplace for me because I haven't got the patience to deal with it. Is it still available? Is it still available? And that sort of stuff. And giving people information and not hearing back. But she will do it, and they'll sell like that. But I might have had them for months. So yeah, I think Facebook is 100% the place to be. Just get away with just being on Facebook Marketplace. If you want to do a page, Nick's Cars or whatever you're going to call it, you could post. I would join all of the groups that will allow you. Some of them will probably kick you out, and just do a little advert for your car and share it in those groups because it's completely free. Nothing lost on that regard. But yeah, you definitely don't need Auto Trader. And to be fair, for the type of stuff you will be selling and buying to start off with, Auto Trader is going to be useless for all the features you're paying a premium for are going to be useless because they don't value stuff over 15 years old. So you want to do a 2007 car, it's not going to give you any figures anyway. So it's
true.
If people are just buying on price, if it's got a long MOT, but your biggest asset is you and getting the cars as clean as possible. Machine polishing and waxing them. When the people turn up, they're going to have that car because it looks immaculate. But another, like what James does with Chops Garage, do a video. These cars are not going to be perfect. So make sure you point out all the you
all
know,
the defects on it.
yeah, all the
Or any-
defects on
well,
it,
yeah,
everything, because then you won't get as many time wasters. You know, try and just be as honest as possible. But if you can make it look as clean as possible, clean cars, old clean cars sell.
Yeah, they look good value.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you can add videos now in Facebook Marketplace, can't you? So yeah, I would
Yeah.
try to make that. It seems tricky to do, as people don't like hearing their own voice and things like that. I mean, you've come on here, so fair play for that. A lot of people
Yeah.
wouldn't. Yeah, just walk around like Dave says, just do a little video and put that in, because I think that'll help you stand out from everyone else. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely the way I would go. And I think I don't know what it is now. I remember an eBay classified ad was about 15 quid for 28 days.
Mhm. I think it's
Felt like
about
that.
20 quid now. I think
Yeah.
they're thereabouts. Yeah.
So if you had something that you put on Facebook Marketplace and it hadn't sold within, to be fair, a week or two, try 20 quid or whatever it is on a eBay classified ad. It's going to be a slightly different audience. You might have a bit more luck that way, but
Yeah.
don't jump at starting slashing your prices straight away and giving away all your profit. You know,
No.
Yeah.
hold your nerve for a little while. It's not that easy when you first start out, but I mean, you're not starting out completely, are you? So
No. I'd say I have done it before, but when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking of doing it full time. It was just on the side and a bit of extra cash in my pocket.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think auto traders, people who want to take it to the next level and feel a bit more professional once they're rocking and rolling. But then on the other hand, everyone else who's paying for auto trader, like you saw on the podcast yesterday, everyone, if they could get away from it, they would. So don't rush
Yeah.
into, because for a 5-car package, it's going to cost you 500-600 quid a month that you have to come up with every month.
Yeah. And is there any way you could get any more funds then?
There's a possibility. I might be able to get a little bit more, but not a huge amount, I don't think, to be honest. I won't be able to get it up to 10 or anything like that. I might be able to get it up to £5,000. So, but if I'm buying sub £1,000 or around £1,000, I could buy two or three at a time, get them clean, get them advertised, and do it that way.
Do you think you could go to the bank and get a bank loan or something like that?
I've tried that. I've already tried. That's one of the things. That's one of the first things that I tried. So that's not an option for me at the minute.
Yeah. Have you got any other bits you can sell at home?
Not really. Only the missus car, but she won't be able to get to work then.
Yeah. How much is that worth?
That's probably worth
£4,500.
Yeah.
Well, I'd sell that straight away. Like, you need to sell that car. Is it owned outright?
Yeah.
Well, get rid of the car, and then what you need to do is you need to invest that money, because the cars that you're going to have, they'll be on your insurance policy. You can have them as for private use. So get rid of that. When I first started, I had like a nice tag watch. It was worth about £3,000. I had no qualms in selling that watch. I put it on eBay. I think I paid £5,000 for it. I got £3,000 for it. That £3,000 went straight into some cars. So if you were saying you've got £2,000 plus you've got a car that sat there for £4,500, you need to sell the car. If you're being serious about it, that's what you've got to do. You've got to sell that car.
If it is your car and not your missus,
£2,000's not going to last.
Well,
what's that, Jay?
I said if it is your car and not your missus.
It's her car, so that's
right.
the car that's there. So
she might want it. Yeah.
I'm going to be doing with the don't
there
say
is
like
an element of short-term sacrifice for, I think we've all done it, and it's easy to look at me and Dave.
You must have done it, Joe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I had someone, funny enough, message me on Facebook last night to just say, "Oh, how have you done it all and whatever? Was it all left to you, or did you just win the lottery?" And I was like, "Is there no option for having worked for it?" That is the one thing I said to everyone is sacrifice. I've worked jobs where I worked 8:30 till 5:30, and like cutting open boxes and doing whatever else, and I went home. Had food, went to the gym, and then I went and worked on my house until about midnight. Doing it up in order to try and sell it as quick as I could to try and make some money. And those are the sorts of that was through my 20s, and I had no social life whatsoever, really. I honestly worked so hard and had so little
Yeah.
social. I thought that I had sort of lost communication skills with people. I really was like, I mean, but you don't have to go quite as crazy as that, but it is an element of short
Because
term.
you were so focused on the goal, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know, that same thing. I mean, I've just sold my house so I can buy a garage. I'm like technically sort of homeless. You know what I mean? That's where you need to be. It's like it's going to take you 10 years to
I think, from the people who think they want to do it versus the people who are going to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Like you've always said, Joe, you know, I'd live in a flipping like a shipping container if I had to, you know, sell everything to buy a big massive garage, you know, and that's where you need to
my theory is you want to spend money on things that are going to make you money, not the things that are costing you money. So
yeah.
Not to convince you to sell your car or your other half's car.
But the way to convince your other half is that £4.5 next year will be worth £3.5, where if you invest the £4.5 next year, it could be worth 10 grand.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you got, what is it, about 6 months till January, I think, I think you can clear 500 quid a car or whatever, and you might be able to build that up to 10 by
January. Yeah.
January. Obviously, there's going to be tax and everything involved with that, but you won't have to worry about that for a year or two. So
no,
that's why you need the accountant now to keep track of it, so you don't get too far down the line. If you do start earning reasonable money from it, don't just start living like you're living la vida.
No. And then end up there, and then you get your big tax bill at the end of it, and you go, "Oops, okay, I've spent that."
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else to really kind of recommend to you. I think it's just a case of making a start, and then, then you'll figure out what your real questions and queries are and whatever. And reach out to us again, unless you can think of anything else that is on your mind that you think.
No, not really. Like I say, the Auto Trader one was one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more a case of, would you recommend starting with the cheaper ones or the slightly better ones?
And just get started.
Just get started.
Yeah, I mean, if you're only making a couple £100 out of a car because it's a cheap one, then it's better making 100% of 200 quid than 0% of £2,000 on a car you can't afford. So I would just make a start, like we all did, with cars under £1,000. Not we all, but probably all three of us sat here, and probably most of the people who've started been on the podcast with us. There is still money to be made, but it's a bit slower.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't feel like there's any way of cheating the progress you're going to have to make, because if you were to say you did win the lottery and you were immediately stocking 20 grand cars tomorrow, and you just set up your Facebook page and you just set up your website and you're looking for somewhere to trade, but you're from home, no one's going to buy anything from you.
No.
Someone will buy a 2 grand car from your driveway. You can't cheat the system. You've got to do it step by step, which is why the sooner you can start, the better.
Yeah.
That would be the takeaway advice, and then maybe drop us a message and we'll catch up with you in February and the massive success story.
Yes, it will be.
Good.
I believe
it will be, definitely.
No worries.
Brilliant.
All right, Nick. Thank you so much for coming on. Hope some of it was useful.
It was indeed. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Yeah. Good luck, Nicholas.
Thank you.
Wait to hear from you in the new year then.
Yes, I'll definitely be in touch.